Hello and welcome to Dice Punks, a tabletop role-playing podcast where we focus on playing full campaigns in less well-known systems. This week, the growing conspiracy around the Frontispiece Four makes plans to relocate and investigate Overthree and the Dreamers. Hello and welcome. I'm Adam, your friendly neighborhood game master, and joining me are...
Hi, I'm Drew, and I'll be playing Cato Burke, aka Hecate, fixer in a fixed position, now unfixed by a firm decision.
Hi, I'm Robin, and I'll be playing Callisto Armitage, but that's officer to you unless your name is Bergie.
Hi, I'm Dez, and I'll be playing Matchstick, a gremlin loose in the basements.
Hello, I'm Nick, and I will be playing Ing. And you know who's got 3 thumbs and a stomach? This guy.
God damn it, Nick.
So, my episode order for after Nick's intro says that I say, thanks, players, but sometimes Nick's intros make it hard to follow it directly with an appreciation.
Thank you, Ing. May I have another?
But thank you for joining me to record another of this here podcast. Let's get right into it with our recap of last time, courtesy this time of the criminal himself, Ing.
Well, I got to try out my passive surveillance suite and steal some data. It seemed to go well, but I was glad to have some advice from Byrne and Cato on selling that data and getting some data that'll sell for bit more on the black market next time. We had dinner at our place, Cal and I's, to try out my new robo-stomach. I introduced the group to my pet bonsai hand, and after dinner, I shared my bloody history with the group. I was a bit worried that everyone seemed to take it so well, and my thoughts were racing so much that it wasn't until hours after that I realized that they probably assumed that I was a soldier rather than a Black Ops war criminal. Byrne fixed Cal's phone so that it's dual boot now, and hopefully that'll keep her out of trouble. Wait, of course it won't. It'll keep her in less trouble. Apatea was read into our situation and introduced to the baby in the basement, the dreamer, I should say, and unless I missed my mark, there was some special interest from Bronwy and Gorister both in Apatea's general direction. Our plan from here is to reawaken the dreamer in the Undercity. It's certainly not going to end well, but neither is keeping it in our basement tied down under a top. Maybe there's some way to communicate with it, but I've got no idea how. Lastly, Cal got a message saying that Revenant is attacking cops now, and this time directly, not the contractors. Worried about what that means for Cal, as her professional and personal lives are on the intersect course. No way but forward, though. Let's dive in.
Yeah, well, thank you very much for that recap. And we do pick up more or less right there. I believe the last word last time was Cal's response to getting that message from Tupper, namely, shit. But that was said into the back room of the frontispiece in the company of the other player characters, Bronwy, Gorister, and Apatia, as well as, I suppose, Overthree and the disabled Kit Bash. So now most everybody is looking expectantly at Cal.
Good news?
No, quite the opposite. I show my phone along with the report of what R3 Venant has been up to.
Yeah, shit.
They must have got wind that they were being impersonated. Are now getting reckless. At least they'll keep Tupper distracted.
There's that, but I mean, we should worry about exactly how reckless.
Yeah.
So far, collateral damage has been pretty limited. I'd really like to keep it that way.
Agreed.
What does Revenant even want?
I don't know, some vigilante justice against law enforcement from the looks of it. But this is
Apatia goes, oh, sorry.
But this is a big deal.
Apatia goes, I guess I don't know who wouldn't want to beat on some cops if they could. I mean, no personal offense intended. Kind of gesturing at Cal.
I just stare at her.
I mean, I guess some professional offense intended.
I am stifling a guffaw.
Bronwy also
I'm
is.
looking at Apatia like she's my personal hero at the moment.
Gorister.
Yeah, I mean it's all fun until the by no means equal but intensely opposite reaction kicks in. That's more my concern.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Gorister goes, yeah, I mean, I don't think that they're going to take it lying down or anything. So maybe if anybody got hollow projection armor, I would maybe not use it for a while, if nothing else.
I can tell you that one vein in Tupper's forehead is definitely popping out right now.
So how can we use that to give him an aneurysm?
If I knew, it would have already happened.
Bronwy chuckles and gets a thoughtful look. She goes, I don't suppose he would let me work on his augments. Does he have any?
Does he have any, Adam?
You don't know.
None obvious, though.
Yeah, certainly none obvious, but
Okay.
Who knows? After a couple beats of contemplation in response to that, Brownlee goes, I am joking, for the record. I don't want to get in the habit of assassinating people via augments. That seems dangerous, frankly.
Kind of a can of worms, yeah.
In the habit? Does this mean it's happened before?
She looks at you and goes, I feel like it would probably be unwise for me to answer that in any way.
Oh, you're no fun at all.
Nonsense. I'm plenty of fun. You just have a weird idea of fun. She looks kind of pouty.
That laugh is in character.
Mm-hmm.
I laugh too and say, OPSEC.
Bronwy goes, yeah, OPSEC. Apatia actually goes, OPSEC?
Operational security.
Oh.
When you do shit you shouldn't supposed to, or you shouldn't supposed to, you aren't supposed to.
I actually love shouldn't supposed to for the record.
But
well, that is Appalachian as hell, and I'm here for
it. When you do shit you aren't supposed to, it, behooves you to make sure nobody fucking knows it.
She goes, ooh, does that mean this is an operation? That's exciting.
Yes.
She claps and giggles.
The uncomfortable silence is in character for Cal. Someone else is just going to have to change this the subject or do something.
Well, on a practical level, if police are being targeted, however justified that universal reaction, there is at least one person that we care about that happens to be in the crossfire of that. So, not for nothing, but how do we keep Cal safe? Cal, how do we keep you safe?
I don't think I'm going to cross this guy's radar. He's hitting big time security now. I had to ask Adam, I had to ask you something. Have we said that on air yet about the nature of the target?
If I'm thinking of the right thing, then
The
kinda.
government agency?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's the distinction that I was drawing earlier between contractors and like cops. Like this is like attacking government employees, not government contractors, right? This is the actual police, not the like
Not
contracted
university
security
rent-a-cops.
people,
Oh, I see. In that case, maybe I retract all of that, but
No.
Well, so the first no. Let me make sure to clarify. It may be helpful on air. The first notification that Tupper sent around about Revenant was targeting security contractors, right? People who worked for Goliath, a cartel corporation, who, among other things, specializes in security contract personnel and services. This time the notification is about Revenant attacking actual station security, like the actual public quote unquote service personnel. I guess one thing that I could underline that certainly Cal would know, maybe others would be able to figure out, Bacon does not list station security people ever, period. They are specifically about these contractors. It is beyond their remit. So the last time those Goliath personnel were not listed on Bacon, which is why it was notable, right? This bounty hunter has been around working for like doing Bacon contracts, but went off contract to do vigilante stuff with these Goliath personnel, and has gone further right outside of the usual remit of this kind of occupation by targeting station security.
So I might lose my side hustle, is what you're saying.
Depends.
Damn. Okay.
I mean, the good news is that Bacon has no involvement in any of this. All they do is collate and post and then pay out. This is not an employee of theirs.
But that's
said,
a visible target.
Yeah, it may not make much of a difference to the people who are going to be mad.
I relay this in character to the crew. I wanted to get it from you because of something I had to seek clarification on.
Sure.
Well, all right then. So there could be a bit of a backlash, bit of crackdown. Are there ways that changes our immediate plans?
I don't think so. If anything, it's
maybe adds a little urgency.
Adds urgency. Might be a good distraction.
All right.
Something to do out of the eye, as it were.
I honestly don't know if I want this guy to be discovered or figure out a way to ensure that he's not.
I mean, in a sense, of course, yeah, we couldn't ask for a better distraction. This gives us some time to devise a language of the angels.
Exactly.
Apacia claps.
Any thoughts on that? Anybody?
If only we had a truly fucking heroic number of books.
If only.
Apacia, for her part, goes, yeah, I wonder where we could find something like that.
I make a grand gesture to the wall of the bookstore that contains discs, which
As you
themselves
do
contain
that,
books.
I just deadpan the university library.
My gesture freezes, my face drops.
Apacia does look back and forth between the two of you as though not entirely certain if there is a joke being made, but settles on saying, well, I no longer have access to the university library, as impressive a resource as it is, but this looks fun, and sort of gestures her own self to the wall of digitized books.
I should have access to it as a student.
Oh,
no,
you do? Yeah,
Adam?
absolutely. Yeah, Apacia doesn't, but you do.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I will mention that.
Speaking...
Anything we don't have here, they probably have there. Here, of course, no one's going to know what we access. In the university library, we're less sure about that.
So then maybe here's a place to start, and then go to the library for the things that we don't have here.
Library, net, yeah, but let's start here. We have books on linguistics. We have books on cryptology, cryptography. I don't know where to begin, really. But if anyone has thought before about how you translate an untranslated language, well, context
Have we
is
ever
king.
talked about what I'm majoring in, kiddo?
I think that's kind of been your business, but I'm excited if you would like to talk about it.
Linguistics.
Well, that's very good news, actually. Tell me more.
I mean, specifically like Southeast Asian languages, but at a certain point, language is language, sort of fundamentally.
Right, sure, exactly. So, where would you begin?
I mean, we'd need input, sounds. The problem is that all we seem to have gotten from Overthree is pi.
Apacia chimes in. According to all available reports, that's all it ever does is recite pi.
Right.
So the question is what it means by that, or what it thinks that might mean to us, right?
Or if there's any variations in the inflection, or if it always starts
There could be
at the
information
beginning.
other than... Right. Oh, that's a good point.
It certainly seemed to pick up speed when it became full of bullets.
There we go. That might be a thing.
Mhm.
The speed of a language. Maybe that conveys some kind of information.
It also got louder as it went on, though whether that is a function of the way it always recites pi or being shot is uncertain.
An open question, yeah.
Most things get louder when shot.
I do. And then I get way quieter.
I mean, unless they very, very don't.
Yeah.
Mhm. Like the only one who responded was that Bronwyn responding, or was that the voice of God?
That was me. That was just me. Yeah, it's me.
Yeah, that was out of character. Well, it was in
Yeah,
character,
yeah.
but also
Yeah,
not
yeah.
on screen.
Sliding scale.
No.
A narrator's minor intrusion. Not that that's a complaint.
So speed was the last thing said, I think.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Bronwyn will chime in, though, to point out, I imagine that it has some way of sensing and interpreting sounds, but I don't think we have any hard evidence that it does.
That's a point.
Yeah, no, the problem is this seems likely also to involve a non-trivial amount of psychological investigation and or theorizing.
Well, we're being
And
asked to
that's,
produce a novel theory of mind. So that's, the
yeah.
first step.
Apatia will
Well, if it doesn't...
Apatia will chime in and say, for what it's worth, I have never come across a single report of anyone successfully communicating with a dreamer.
Any dreamer. That's interesting and bad news.
Which is why, while you guys geek out over books, I'm going to be looking at a way to actually shut them down. I don't think the EMP did anything last time.
If Apatia had animal ears, they would perk up at this point. Her whole body language becomes very interested. And she goes, there are theories that they have an experimental shielding as part of their construction, but that is very interesting to hear a first-hand report about. It takes quite a lot of investment in materials and design to shield something this reliant on electronic communication without any sort of chemical dimension to fully shield it from an EMP. That is, bad for us, perhaps, but really interesting.
Well, I guess that's another thing we can add to its loadout.
She does sort of falter in her enthusiasm a little bit and say, my electronic bits are not nearly so well shielded, so if we are going to involve an EMP, I would like to be away from it, if that is at all possible.
Yeah, ditto.
Uh-huh.
Burn grimaces, looks like they're about to say something, then doesn't.
Well, speaking of comparing bits, it's been...
An eyebrow raises.
In continues, oblivious of the double entendre. He says,
sure.
it's been on my mind that, Prolix has a very unusual bit of hardware there. It's an outside possibility, but it's not by any means unnatural, is it? Something comparable, perhaps? There's no particular reason to believe that only human beings will be targeted by the Dreamers, the way that you were, Apatia.
Hell, we could put the cat collar on the thing.
Bromley looks thoughtful. She goes, everybody who's tried to tamper with that collar, even to take it off, has received a nasty shock and just decided it wasn't worth it. But presumably with some insulated gloves and a lot of patience, there's something to be discovered.
Yeah, I guess I'm just now wondering whether this is dreamer tech.
That's a good thought.
Gorister kind of waves his hand and says, it's like the design philosophy of the collar is a lot different than the design philosophy of like the Kitbash, but it's not impossible that it could be or could be derived from it. Alternatively, it could be some weirdo's hobby project and, just happen to maybe have a potential use for us. I could look into it, if I was getting paid to. And looks at Kato.
Yeah, you're getting paid for it. Look into it.
He gives you a thumbs up. It is earnest, but not like overly energetic.
This is this is the equivalent of a bell kick for Gorstar, I think. So.
And he pretty much immediately goes to where Bronwy has stashed some cat treats and starts trying to entice Prolix, who, again, has been chattering behind this whole scene, and indeed everything said in the back room. I try to highlight it every once in a while, but I want everyone listening's imagination to include the Everbabble at varying volumes in everything that takes place in the back room of the Frontispiece. Apatia, for her part, is very excited to get into the Frontispiece's collection now that she knows it exists. So you have at least one helping hand there. Gorister, of course, is not going to do that. He's going to be working on more practical things. But how else are we, sort of dividing up the labor in coming days?
Are we prepping?
Well, that's a good question, actually. That may be something that a little bit of table talk is in order about. We have a task, right, of like trying to devise a language in which you can communicate with Overthree. The question on the table, I suppose, is are we wanting to kind of layer other things on? And what if this is prep is going to be like the mission per se?
I was sort of imagining that the mission is communicating with Overthree.
Yeah.
Like that's the goal, right? The moment when Overthree is active and we attempt to make contact is the mission in my head. But if that isn't what other people were thinking, or if that makes no sense,
Or releasing
say what.
Overthree in the basement, so it is not our problem and unlikely to get caught again in some cases.
Well,
That's one possible outcome.
Yeah.
So I feel like if you're trying to communicate with Overthree, that means activating it,
Mhm.
which means taking it to the basement.
Mhm.
So if we want to
Exactly.
do this as an operation, then I think getting Overthree into the basements and attempting this multivalent interaction with it is maybe the thing that we can do. Does that
It
sound
does. I
about
would
right?
expand upon the idea of communicating with Overthree, with that being the pinnacle of hopefully we can do that. But if nothing else, learning more about Overthree, either through direct communication or direct observation, or finding out where its cozy little home is. I don't know. Anything that tells us more.
Or just getting to the finding out
Mhm,
stage
yeah,
of fuck
exactly.
around.
Right. So then I think it's worth, before we start assigning more tasks, it's worth asking and kind of maybe abstracting a discussion between your characters of what is this operation look like if everything goes well, and how are we apportioning the jobs based on that?
A question that's worth exploring is the fact that if we activate it and then deactivate it again, will the timer effectively reset?
Almost
Apatia,
certainly.
for her part, thinks probably so.
And by deactivate, you mean shoot a great many times, yeah? Just to be clear.
Probably.
Tomato.
Apatia will throw in there that it does deactivate without getting shot, according to some reports. It's just not clear what causes it to do so.
If we just avoid harm for long enough,
Mhm.
it might deactivate itself. So if we find a way to activate it and then follow it from a great distance.
I'm going to guess Cal loves that.
I was assuming it was out of character because there was no accent.
Thank
so
you.
I
Yep.
was- but there
Well-
was still a visceral reaction.
Well, and I was going to say we have been sort of operating on, abstraction
Yeah.
of conversation rules. So,
Cal does
things
not
can
love
be
Cal will
covered
remember
in
that.
character without being dialogue.
Yeah. With some guidance from Byrne, one thing I'm definitely doing by way of preparation, whether or not that's prep with a capital P, is looking into communicating with machines, right? Like not just the sort of narrow question of how people have attempted to communicate with dreamers, especially because we know that's always failed. But if you're trying to communicate with something that doesn't have audio receptors and seems to operate on some kind of machine language, what are the best practices for coming up with a way to do so? That's the first thing I'm looking at.
Also, in answer to your previous question, Adam, I think that in my mind, as Ing, the optimal kind of result of this operation, as it were, is that we first get Overthree safely to the basement levels without being discovered by the people that are looking for it and without getting killed by Overthree itself. In those sub-basement levels, we activate Overthree successfully and have a deep and meaningful conversation with it about its hobbies and its hopes and dreams. It tells us about, the evil scientists that created it in the basement levels, and we go and, together with Overthree, defeat those nefarious overlords. Or failing all of that, we just learned something else about Overthree or about Dreamers in general.
It sounds like you're plotting a
Yes.
damn robot romance.
You might want to
novel
skip
right
the next
there.
few pages if you're sensitive.
Is this
You gotta
going
be
on
logged in
AO3?
if you want to read them. Yeah, I was gonna say.
Is this enemies to lover slow burn?
Ooh.
I think you added a word.
We can leave the burn out of that. Thank
I was
you.
gonna say it's enemies to lovers burn. BURN, not
Yes.
BYRNE.
Thank you. Yep.
Yeah, so, and then all of that without getting killed. Yeah, third mission
Excellent
parameter.
thing to add.
Let's not take that for granted.
Not a bonus objective. That one's actually pretty important.
And then hopefully getting back unobserved and again without additional heat coming down on us either during or after this mission. But that's the best I got.
How in accord with other people's ideas of success on this is that?
Pipe dream. But I don't actually say that.
I think the not getting murdered is a hard requirement as far as I'm concerned. I will consider this a failure if anyone gets murdered.
Yes.
But the rest of it is probably over the top success as opposed to a hard requirement. Not that I would mind if it happened. Just I think if we can, to me, success looks like nobody dies, and we have a reasonable assurance that we have in fact communicated with Overthree. Yeah, I mean, are we hoping to deactivate Overthree and have it stay in the basement, or is the plan to let it loose?
There's not any good outcomes. I think based on what Apatia said, Cal is more content to just activate it and then hope it has a way of getting out of what situation got it trapped to begin with. Away from campus.
Going wherever dreamers go, where people don't usually find them.
Yeah. Since it's been a pretty stale trail beyond that. If you peel away all the layers of the stinky Cal onion, at the heart, I think there is very much a desire for Nick's or Ing's outcomes to come true. However, not dying and getting more information are the ideal outcome. Successfully deactivating it in a way that gives us options as to what to do next is another desired thing, just to prevent it from firing off randomly in the bookstore.
Yep.
And to be clear, if we can, become its ally, be the first people in history to be simpatico with the dreamer and find out who heard it and etc. Groovy.
Sure.
Just maybe not, let's not consider the day.
And Nick is on
none
board
that
with all
happens.
of that. This is frankly a terrible idea that we're lucky to get out of alive, but
Okay.
It's so bad.
But it sounds like it's going to be entertaining.
It's certainly
Yeah,
a sequence of
agreed.
choices we're making.
Yeah, but it's only that's the one of the few things that might actually get some heat off of us.
And back in character.
Well, and if there's any moment, I was just gonna say if there's any moment where a spectacle like this could potentially be ignored, it could be with what's going on right now. People are distracted. The kind of people who should be paying attention specifically are distracted. So, worst of the bad ideas.
Exactly.
Best
Seems
of
like
the
an
worst
opportune
timings.
time. And frankly, it seems like a win-win situation if we're able to either, activate it and learn more about it, even if it goes free after that, it's not our problem anymore, or it deactivates again and we learn more about it, or we don't. It's at least in a safer location than in our basement. And we can continue to study it from there if we're so inclined.
I mean, assuming it doesn't lose us, but yes.
And just to clarify for our listeners, Ing has been saying basement this episode, that may very well be an in-character thing as well. But the frontispiece does not have one. All of this is in its back room. You were talking about moving it to the station basements. That was the only reason I wanted to clarify, is because those two things.
Thank you
could
for the
be confusing
clarification, both for them and for me.
It's more, the moving process is more than just going downstairs.
Which is actually maybe something that we could, again, abstract some in character discussions about in terms of how we intend to move Overthree, and whether or not we want to bring the Kit Bash along too.
Probably yes to the Kit Bash.
We're reasonably confident that it's not going to deactivate, and if it does, I mean, we'll have learned something pretty valuable. If it does reactivate, are we confident we can deactivate it?
Gorister will offer that it is quite small, and he would be very interested to disassemble it.
Yeah, I'll call it a yes.
Don't love that idea, but
this isn't if push comes to shove and our lives are in danger kind of thing, to be clear,
Well, and Gorister draws on Apatia's supposition that it is already well and truly dead as such things go, and, its storage has been erased, and so he'd be just performing an autopsy.
I mean, if anything, this would be the way to confirm that it is in fact dead, right? We put it in the situation where it's most likely to reactivate, resurrect, depending on your frame of reference, and if it doesn't, then, again, we've learned something. Give it the best possible chance to come back and show that it's aware.
In terms of deactivating in an emergency, the Dreamer that is, I don't have any weapons, nor do I want any. I'm open to suggestions on how I might be able to use my drones as to distract to help. But I think it's a matter of just not being where it's trying to stab and burn.
Stab, burn, and blast.
Goop.
Goop.
It does have quite a few functions that can be weaponized, yeah.
Yeah, there's goop involved.
Don't get hit by the goop.
I will, just to be completely upfront, bring a gun to this gunfight. Just because, I mean, we know that worked, and we have reason to believe it wasn't lethal to Overthree, so seems like I'd be foolish not to, especially because the good officer was good enough to make sure I don't immediately shoot myself with it.
Apatia is extremely conflicted about this because on the one hand, yes, safety, yes, it doesn't seem to have been quote-unquote fatal to Overthree. On the other hand, shooting at it seems borderline sacrilegious to her. It's one thing to hear about it happening, it's another thing to contemplate being present for it.
Look, I really can't emphasize enough that this is contingencies we're talking about. We don't want to have to do it. We just don't want to not have planned for it, if you get me.
She nods glumly, but goes along.
Plan A is language of the angels. I can't be clear enough on that point. In fact, I'm going to get back to that.
Speaking of which, I wonder whether it would help to collect information, data, transmissions in more than just the auditory spectrum. Electromagnetic, there's telling what kind of a language it has, if it has one.
Good point. I mean, for all we know, the goop could be a form of communication.
It is, but it's...
Burn shutters.
The goop is a form of communication, but you could just as easily substitute a middle finger.
Seems likely. But there's nuances to a middle finger.
Bronwyn contributes that somebody once commissioned from her a middle finger that was 3 or 4 times longer than the human norm with an excess of joints.
See? Case in point. I'm not sure what the point was, but it's a very good case in it. I guess you know what the point is? The point is that we can't assume categorically that something Overthree does that has the potential to kill us is necessarily not a form of communication. Could be trying. We did shoot it.
Well, none of the weapons it was using seemed to be used for their intended purpose.
True enough. You know, most bear attacks back on Earth, right, were just the bear being curious. And it's just big and it's got sharp claws. Wasn't trying to hurt anybody. Doesn't mean we should let it maul us, of course, but it's something to keep in mind. Anyway, back to the language of the angels. I go back over to a pile of just a bunch of screens that are out. I'm searching through the problem and seeing if other people have come up with clever solutions.
So not to preempt further in character interactions, by all means have them if you want to have them, but something to consider is perhaps we generate a list of things we want to have done by the time we attempt to move Overthree, as well as our plan for moving Overthree. And then we can get into whatever the prep actions are for this. Because also there is a hypothetical fairly hard limit of 3 weeks to doing this, but also what's the window of time you're willing to spend around normal work tasks on it as well, as is another consideration. So,
and how long can Cal reasonably lay low?
How long can Cal reasonably lay low?
From visiting the Frontispiece? Overtly? Probably indefinitely.
Well, I think if I'm not mistaken, the implication there was about the potential disruption posed by Revenant.
Oh, honestly, I don't know. That is not something I have control over.
Call it a week.
I mean, what?
Probably more than a day, right?
Well, a week would be enough.
Discounting Burn impersonating the Revenant, it seems like it's been fairly infrequent.
Yeah.
Right.
So I imagine after something as big and stupid as going after an actual
station security.
Yeah. Then he might also be laying low.
Seems likely.
Yeah, it does.
If the proposal is on the table for a week, then that is enough time for everybody to do. 8 days is enough time for everybody to do a personal and a group prep.
Okay.
Want to take longer, you can, and get more prep in there. But
week and a half.
That would put let me double check here. That would put you at February 4th or 5th.
Okay.
All right. In the next week and a half, what is our plan for who wants to be doing what and how we're trying to tackle particularly the transportation problem? We'll get into the vagaries of the communication problem as we do rolls.
Well, I'd like to look into strategies for communicating with non-human animals like dolphins, whales, etc. And see if that stirs up anything.
Okay. I am going to begin writing some of this down so you will hear my keyboard noises. Quick.
I'd also like to see what modifications are needed for my drones in order to make them capable of being somewhat useful if things come to a combat situation, whether that means being able to drop a net or carry around a Kevlar vest that can interpose itself between the thing and my allies. Whatever is the least ridiculous or the most ridiculous but also effective.
Mhm.
On the one hand, I would like to look into sensor equipment so that we can record transmissions on non-audio-visual emissions that Overthree might have.
Mhm.
On the other hand, I would like to start in earnest the work of crafting for Ing a fake identity.
It's a
What
good
do you
question.
want
I'll
your
have to
name
get
to
back
be?
to you out of character.
Excellent.
I'm continuing to research what people have tried as far as communicating with dreamers, so we know what hasn't worked, as well as the aforementioned stuff about protocols for talking to machines more generally. I'm also maybe making some very careful noises around town to tell people who I trust to be cautious. That's not giving anything away that would give us away, but again, a very trusted circle, letting them know that like shit could go down.
Yeah, I might also strategically use some sort of like basement-y dead drop notification type things
Mm-hmm.
to let it be known that there might be some hazards in the basement to be wary of.
Mm-hmm. I could be remembering this wrong, but remembering, when we brought Overthree here in the first place, doesn't Bronwy have access to a mag lift?
That was you. You sourced it from a contact.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who
feel
we
free
did
to
not
mark this part,
identify.
because in character I'd remember that, but yeah.
Sure,
I
our
thought it was
listeners might not.
identified.
Yeah, fair enough.
I don't remember who it was, if so, but that's maybe on me.
I don't think it's a character that's recurred.
No, I did, and I don't
Exactly.
remember it being like free either.
No,
Somebody's
it wasn't.
shady.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I was going to say I'll drop some cash, but I don't have any. I'll call in a favor if I need to, in order to
Don't
make
you
sure
get
we can
cash at the
physically
beginning
move
of
the thing.
sessions?
Oh, that's true.
You do
I
get
do.
2 cash at the
I
beginning of
always
the
forget.
session, and we will
Like
be.
I said, I have some cash to splash around.
We will be rolling burden once we have a plan and we start on a mission.
Totally.
So that's coming up.
I do take it on, though, it seems like, within my fixery purview to make sure we can physically move Overthree.
Okay.
Assuming that we deactivate it, right? Like it may move on its own and that may not be a problem.
Sure.
But yeah.
I will be looking into the EMP resistant shields that Apatia talked about and try to find a way to circumvent them. Ideally with a mind of multiple targets, because I remember Apatia alluding to the fact that there might be other dreamers attracted to the scenario. So I guess another task I would be doing is building a Batman-esque dossier about all of the known dreamers that Apatia rattled off, using various spooky spaghettis as sources.
Critical hit.
Spoopy spaghettis.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. There's creepypasta, spooky spaghetti, morbid macaroni.
Freaky farfalla.
Oh,
Hey.
perfect. Yeah. Jesus. Scary
Frightening
Spetzel.
fettuccine.
Love it.
Or,
Lurid
if you will,
lasagna.
Frittachini.
Oh, boy.
Ghostly Ganoki.
This pronunciation got me again. Okay, for the listener, part of the reason this is working on me is because I've been rewatching portions of Delicious in Dungeon with a friend lately, so I am just like really tuned in to food humor. That's a pretty good little rundown of what each of our player characters is doing. We also have Gorister, Bronwy, and Apatia who can be working on
Yeah,
things.
well, I don't know whether this makes sense, but I wonder whether it's also worth putting together the best tracking device that we can and just affix it to Overthree. I don't, out of character, expect that to work for more than 30 seconds, but, hey, it's worth a try.
It's worth the attempt.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, it is.
I would likely also, not without giving it away any defining details for security purposes, but I would let Ramirez know about the loose shape of the plan and paint it in a way decidedly less optimistic than we're trying to communicate with it, but rather getting information in a controlled environment.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to interrogate and then release a wild animal.
A wild mechanical animal.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Those are not super rare on Grand Cross, actually. It hasn't really come up but because you are on the downtown end of the station, but on the other end of the station, animal drones for both ambiance and surveillance are pretty common.
Is there a zoo on Grand Cross?
Can I?
Horrible.
Not, I don't think, one that has live animals in it. There are a couple of educational facilities featuring like animatronics or articulated drones, and there are
People in bear suits.
like pet
Exotically
shops.
painted dogs.
There are pet shops. Dogs are pretty uncommon. Cats and smaller are more common. There are dogs on Grand Cross. There are also dog-like drones on Grand Cross, but cats, hamsters, domesticated rats, reptiles are relatively common because they don't eat as much as often, and they don't require as much space. But again, we're talking smaller snakes, iguanas, things that require like circulated water habitat, less so. And then there are a small number of what you could call petting zoos, but they tend not to have like ungulates. These aren't places where you're interacting with sheep or llamas. You're interacting with guinea pigs and
Thank you.
rabbits. Mm-hmm. I'll actually also just go ahead and invent off the cuff that there is for Grand Cross, long-standing sort of citizen lobby to establish a Grand Cross Metropolitan Zoo, but it has not yet met with success in actually getting such a thing done, because it's hard enough to transport smaller animals. Can you imagine attempting to use a rocket with a giraffe in it?
Yes. Thank you.
Now
I can't imagine it now.
Yes. I think I saw it in a Toys R Us ad once, in fact. Can I?
I don't want to go back to Earth. I'm a Toys R Us kid.
God damn it. This is not even a retailer that exists anymore. If we have any listeners who are like under 18, they're not going to know what this is.
That's sad.
And
I'm sorry for
I mean,
you.
maybe I don't know.
Just noting it. That's all.
Whether Toys R Us exists on this timeline is a question for another day, but still exists, I mean.
Right.
Can I enlist
I would like
Ramirez to
spend
do a
a fate
task?
point to declare a detail.
Quite possibly. You can, what do you have in mind?
I was going to ask him to try to research the Revenant, and see if we can get a sense of a potential location going based on the two specific instances I give him, and then obviously wink wink nudge nudge about the one that was not.
Does he know that was faked?
Yeah, but he doesn't know the details. Just knows it was a orchestrated effort to keep that tech away from Tupper.
Fair.
Yeah, you could probably task Ramirez with that without raising too many eyebrows. That leaves Gorister, Bronwy, and Apatia's tasks.
I think Apatia might be most helpful with the Batman dossier and the Language of the Angels subtasks.
She can probably also give us a real shortcut as far as what people have previously tried,
Mhm.
as far
Right.
as communicating with dreamers.
And anything that she already knows about the connectivity of her parts that were installed might give us some insight as to how
Totally.
the internal logic of these things works. Gorster, possibly some
Okay.
countermeasures.
I've got those things down for.
You know, if and when it becomes active. Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
You're good.
The
Mhm.
aforementioned tracking device, too, probably is a Gorister reliant task.
Yeah, I've just been trying not to talk.
You'd know
while
whether we
typing.
have one around or what it would take to scrounge, to slap one together from parts that are
So this is a
scroungeable.
question for the punks, but is there
Mhm.
anything that we can think of prep-wise that would help us get to and from the sub-basement levels? Because I think that we'll step out the door and fail, despite all of our other preparations.
Yeah, that's a good point. We ran down things that are normal to see on Grand Cross animal-wise, and none of them are sized and shaped much like
Is there
Overthree.
anything that's...
Can't really disguise it as a very large iguana. Not a great idea.
Would be very funny.
So, question for the GM about whether there are things that are regularly transported to or from the sub-basement, maintenance workers bring maintenance equipment, or other kinds of things that might help us to go to and from, whether in disguise or not.
Good question. The answer, in short, is not much. The basements exist for access to infrastructure, so they aren't used very much for transportation. Once upon a time, they were more commonly used for transportation, but by now, most of that is handled via the exterior rail lines for like heavy industry. For the most part, anybody venturing into the basements is doing so as essentially a like the word I'm looking for is not pariah, but somebody who has nowhere else to go, somebody who's trying to hide what they're doing, or somebody who is actively repairing some piece of station infrastructure. So that last one gives you the best opportunity at cover, but it is not super common for such tasks to involve like parading something through the streets. You back a van or a truck up to an entrance to the basement and do your job and then leave.
Out of character, I get the sense that Byrne might have spent a day or two in the sub-basement, but in character, I wouldn't know to suggest that.
I mean, out of character, I can neither confirm nor deny. In character, Byrne would not even address a question, but in the event that Byrne has spent such time, it would not have been with circumstances to consider moving large amounts of things. So I don't know that they'd be much help.
Just as a sort of fun comment, this might be, in terms of planning, the most complex thing that we've done so far.
Indeed.
Yep.
Yep.
Ambitious too, like on a philosophical as well as a logistical level.
Well, and I'll go ahead and just kind of point out what I have so far are plans for Ing, plans for Byrne, plans for Cato, plans for Cal, some for Gorister, some for Ramirez, some for Apatia. Bronwy so far has nothing to do.
Could she be assisting with ensuring whatever device we've put together for shutting down dreamers and getting past that shield would not affect the party augments?
And she will be the first to tell you that that's not going to be a distinction that the technology itself can make. That's going to be a matter of where you are when it gets
Okay.
used.
Matter of targeting, yeah.
Or like a shield against it then?
That is interesting to her. She sort of has a real philosophical think about it, but she's not going to be able to come up with a more effective shield than being on street level when this goes off in the basements or something like that. You know, the air and infrastructural substrate materials are going to be a better shield than anything that she can put together in the back room of the frontispiece.
The plan has to be those who would be done harm by it just have to get as far away from it as they can if such a situation arises.
Got it.
Interestingly,
Don't love it.
Bronwyn is probably the person best suited to be closest to some kind of EMP or disruption weapon.
Since Bronwyn knows something about augments and internal workings and, a bit about biology, even if she isn't directly involved in installing things, I wonder whether Bronwyn can maybe work with Gorister to cook up some electronic device that broadcasts like biosignatures, but like dozens of them in the general space to make targeting difficult for Overthree, like a kind of biochaff.
Ooh.
That's pretty good.
Fascinating.
Nick's on fire with their ideas.
Thank you.
Hopefully not literally, though.
No. Figuratively.
No, he's just metaphorically speaking, he's cooking.
If Nick is on fire, he's handling it very well. lot of poise.
On screen right now. He
Grace
just
under fire, Grace over fire, Grace.
So let me recap what I've got before we get into sort of like passing the time and making the rules to do these things. I have Ing, researching communication with non-human animals, looking into drone modifications for usefulness in combat situations, crafting the best tracking device they can, and a method for affixing it to Overthree. Burn, looking into sensor equipment for recording non-audio visual transmissions from Overthree, starting in earnest to the work of crafting for Ing a fake identity, and leaving some basement dead drops to let it be known that there might be some hazards in the basements in the near future. Kato, researching what people have tried in communicating with dreamers, researching communicating with machines generally, putting out feelers around town, telling people he trusts to be careful since shit might go down. Cal, looking into EMP resistance circumvention for multiple targets, building a dossier about known dreamers Apatia mentioned, letting Ramirez know the loose shape of the plan, and painting it in maybe a less optimistic way than our pie in the sky goals might have it. Gorister, working on countermeasures for when Overthree becomes active and the tracking device for Overthree. Ramirez, researching Revenant for a possible location. Bronwyn working with Gorister to make targeting difficult for Overthree with the sort of conceptual label of biochaff. And Apatia working on that Dreamer dossier as well as the language of the Angels task, as well as contributing to what people have previously tried to communicate with Dreamers, and maybe contributing some information about her own background as it relates to Dreamers, particularly those augments she woke up with after her encounter as a child.
Yeah, sounds good.
When you put it that way, it sounds like a lot.
Well, you
It's a
got
fair
like
amount of work.
10, 11 days.
Yeah. We still have time on the side to, pursue normal pursuits.
I mean, good, because some of you have jobs. All right.
As I'm going about the normal frontispiece business, I am definitely, every so often asking Byrne which of these, books on linguistics might be worth a damn. Hold up a disc with Chomsky on it and gauge his reaction.
Strong negative.
I actually chuck it over my shoulder.
If Inga's present, he
So-
carefully puts it back on the shelf.
That's adorable.
You notice in the trash can it landed next to is another disc labeled Lacan.
They put that on the shelf as well. This is a business.
Yeah. Since all that sounds pretty good, I think we can start making some rolls and seeing some time pass. Of course, the first roll I need from everybody is a burden roll, 2d6 plus your burden, to see if anything terrible befalls you.
Remind me how this works again?
2d6 plus your burden. Try not
Yes.
to roll high.
Okay.
And that's
I got a 3 for a total of a 5.
I got an 8 total.
So, Adam,
Mm-hmm.
Oh no.
Whoa.
yeah, no, I rolled an 11.
Yeah.
Oh.
And your burden is a 2, which gives you a 13.
Adjusted, yeah.
I think that's high.
Yeah.
It is high.
Well, 13's a lucky number, right? So it has special rules.
That's a good point.
Can I borrow you inside comms for a second, Adam?
Probably. I just want to make sure that I have confirmation that nobody else rolled a 13 or more.
no. I rolled a 10 plus my burden is 1.
Okay, so everybody else. Taking those burden rolls into account, during the course of preparing for this mission, this op, and we will handle the chronology slightly by convenience here. But one of the things that Burn is doing, of course, is setting up basement dead drops to warn people about things. And after one of these outings, he does not come back.
I was not prepared for this.
Well, and of course, it's Kato who notices.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I was completely out of character.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I alert the group by secure channels and see if anyone else has seen him.
No sign.
No.
That's not good.
I show up 5 minutes after you send the text, knocking on the back door of the frontispiece.
I'll show up with Cal.
Yeah, I let you in right away. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, thanks for coming. I mean, they do this every so often, but usually not in the midst of something. I love it.
Do you know
For-
where they were going?
Do I?
All you got is into the basements.
All I got is into the basements.
Well, new mission, I suppose. New priority.
Yeah.
Someone
mean,
should stay here, maybe Bronwy. And the rest of us perhaps see if we can track them down.
A salient question, Kato, do you go into Burns' room, quarters, bunk, whatever you want to call it, at any stage in the worry about this?
Yeah, I think while in that 5 minutes, I'd take a peek in, assuming I can access the room physically.
You can.
It is unlocked.
Okay. That itself worries me a little, but yeah, I do take a look inside.
There is, I mean, it's a small space, but, you know, there's kind of sleeping space and sitting space, and the sitting space has prominently displayed a little sticky note with a frowny face on it.
And it looks like things may be missing.
I definitely share that information with the group, and I have also, in case it's not clear, been messaging Burn through secure channels we have pretty much throughout this process.
Your messages bounce.
Yeah, I share that info as well.
Mm.
Do you know what exactly is missing?
Do I?
That's a question.
I don't spend a ton of
for
time in here, but
Des.
I do try to observe as best I can when I'm in here. So yeah, that might be a question for Des/Burn.
Approximately a large backpack worth of stuff. A book you might have noticed, but not paid much attention to its contents. One of the linguistics books, much related to ongoing computing things.
Probably some of the hacker chow, some clothes.
Oh, virtually all of the non-perishable food. Yeah.
So I relate all this to Cal and Aang and Bronwy, and I assume Apatia is not here right at the moment. Otherwise,
She's out and about. Yeah.
Otherwise, yeah. And I say, and I don't want to jump to conclusions, but some signs point to getting out of Dodge real quickly and potentially maybe not honoring that deal about giving the others a heads up if the past came knocking.
Yeah, the food especially gestures to that. I start looking through their stuff, namely to ensure that they took their phone with them, even if the messages are bouncing.
Yep. Phone's not there.
I wince so hard that the work suite arm makes a little zzzz when you do that, but I do not stop you.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure if it was left behind, it's pretty clean.
Yeah, phone's not there. I'm guessing that there is probably still and Des, you can correct me here, like system terminal still in the room, since your sort of hacker suite is built into you and your phone is with you. But no evidence of a phone. Not one in working order. There are a number of project devices scattered about, I imagine.
Do we have any contacts with his hacker friend? I can't remember the name. Canby, there it is.
Canby?
You can, yeah.
I know Canby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Y'all have the contact info for Canby.
I definitely get in touch with. Yeah, Canby. Yeah, I assume if Cal doesn't suggest, let's say Cal suggested, and I'm already doing it, getting in touch and asking if Canby has heard from Burn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Canby may know something about where they went, or be able to help us with this. And I point at the terminal.
Mm-hmm. I assume that Burn has not told Canby anything, but if that isn't correct, feel free to
Sure haven't.
Yeah. And we'll say as much.
And
are there any Nick, go ahead.
And just to put it out there, not as a suggestion, but he seems to have some inside track information about Burn. I think that it would be viewed as a betrayal to reach out to Hahi to see if they have any information. But it's an option. It's a thing that we could do.
I haven't ruled out the possibility of Hahi's handling of that information being part of this problem. Until we get more information, I would rather avoid contacting her. Would I know of any surveillance that would be, I guess, in the basements or between the frontispiece and the basements, namely, to at least give a direction?
So G-Pol has a lot of security around it, including surveillance, that may very well have been things that Burn passed by, but you also know that Burn is able to spoof their appearance to surveillance in a way that makes it maybe unhelpful.
That's exactly what I'm looking for. Not a presence, but the spoofing. I'm going to notify Ramirez to see what he can pull up surveillance-wise, at least if we can get a direction looking for any anomalies, a clear, not holographic projection armor, but a clear exploitation of the device.
Sure. As for the basements, they are famously unsurveilled.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of reaching out to Ramirez, he will make the attempt. And I am going to use the very cool Dice Punks theme little dice canister to roll these. So probably a louder sound than my little wooden box, but here goes. First time.
That was beautiful.
I am glad.
Still quite a pleasant sound, yes.
I declare the sound rad. Yeah.
Well, you are likely the next recipient of one, later this week.
I'm pretty stoked on that, actually.
So Ramirez will take some time and then get back to Cal saying that there is nothing particularly suspicious in the Selden District surveillance. If this kid used spoofing of some kind, it was seamless. Otherwise, they avoided surveillance successfully.
I very gingerly put my phone back in my pocket and then flip the chair over and storm out.
So I'm gonna go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Kato, depending on how much food is missing, that's how long they planned to be away. It doesn't mean that something hasn't gone wrong immediately, but that would at least give us some idea of when to escalate extreme concern into panic. Do you have an idea of how much food is missing?
I'm going to go ahead and
I think,
jump in here. You did not have a specific amount of food that was in Burns' room, but you just noticed that there isn't any when you look.
Tough to say. A, because I'm not in here that often, and B, because I think their caloric intake varies wildly depending how involved in a project they are. So, I don't know.
I'm going to sort of pause the search for Burn on this end currently. So if you have things that you still are wanting to do or say there, by all means, hang on to them. We will be returning to you.
Sorry to forcibly split the party.
The dice did that.
And I'm going to, just so we have the full complement of things going on here, I am going to ask for everybody's prep rolls, including Burns. So let's start with Kato here. What are you rolling for prep, personal and group?
Oh, this is just a roll. This isn't me saying what I'm doing.
I mean, you can say as much about what you want to do here as, what kind of prep you're doing, but the main thing is justifying which combination of
Gotcha.
Attribute and specialty you're rolling for personal and which one you're rolling for prep.
Good question. I think I'm leaning on Criminal Underground, and the same network that I had been sort of reaching out to saying like, hey, shit might go down. I'm letting them know that different shit might be going down and seeing if anyone has any whiff of directly where Burn might be. I only tip my hand to this to people I actually trust. But to pretty much anyone I say, are you aware of any, any hot doings in terms of collections, pursuit, etc.?
Okay. Go ahead and let's, I guess, which attribute are you combining Criminal Underworld with here?
What makes the most sense? I guess Can I justify clever, or is it more cool because I'm communicating with people? It's probably cool, unfortunately.
Which would be a +3. Not too shabby.
Yeah. All right. That is a 9 + 3, so 12.
All right, 12. Seven is the target number there. Okay, good. So 12 gives you 2 personal prep on that. And you with a 12, you do learn that this is the timetable on which the G-Pole Bursar is sending out, like, you know, the hard emails.
Mm-hmm.
Seems
Yeah, for sure. Share that with the group. Yeah.
coincidental, if nothing else.
Yep.
How about your...
Also, I will note that I did pay into the team mom skill, so when I get personal prep, I also give everybody a point of group prep.
Oh, perfect.
Nice.
So that is 2 personal prep for Kato and 1 group prep. Note that down. How about your group prep?
Boy, what do I do? I guess let's confer with the group. How do we all play to our strengths here?
Well, I will go ahead
talk.
and throw out there that, you know, what we noted earlier was researching what people have tried and communicating with dreamers and communicating with machines in general, which seems like a different role than the one you were doing before.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah, I will do that. What does that combine with? I think cybernetics.
Closest approximation.
Yeah. Okay.
This is probably a clever roll, so that's going to be +5.
Cool. That is a 7 + 5 is 12.
All right. That adds another 2 group prep on top of the 1 for Team Mom.
Cool.
Excuse me.
Cool.
All right. Cal, your personal and group prep.
I guess I imagine we'll start with group because it seems to be predominantly concerned with ensuring the group is unharmed. And that would be looking at countermeasures for Dreamer/Ers and how to get through their shield.
Okay.
I think this is a clever roll.
Okay. And the specialty?
Let's do... especially investigation.
Works for me. So that'll be +5.
Mm-hmm. And then 2d6.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that was so close. It's still a very solid roll. 5 and a 6.
Nice.
11, 16.
Mm-hmm.
Is 4 personal prep, I think.
Cool.
Hell yeah.
Is that right?
I need to write this down. I don't know where my notebook is.
Yes, definitely do
16,
write down.
I think, is the threshold for a 4th.
Yeah.
Oh. There we go. I'm just going to put it on the character sheet.
Mm-hmm. There is a spot for that on the character sheet for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so incredible roll there. And then your group prep.
Oh, I thought that was the group
Yeah, that
prep.
was intended to be the group prep.
Oh, I'm sorry. Your personal prep. I misspoke. Yeah.
So that would be 4 to group prep, and then... Okay,
4 to
can
group
someone else
prep.
keep track of group prep?
Group prep total is 7 currently.
Fantastic. So for personal prep, I'm going to use Bounty Hunter to put together my Batman dossier.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. And you're combining it with which attribute?
I still want to say clever, but if I have to, it's kind of cool too.
We can
I
go with
think
clever. That'll be
Yeah.
+6.
Not as great a roll. 4 + 6 is 10.
Okay. That'll be 2 personal prep then.
Sweet.
Note that down. There should be a spot on your character sheet. All right. Burn. Your prep.
Yes. So I think I'm doing 2 different personal prep things.
Okay. That
and then 1 group prep.
does up the time between starting and finishing to 9 days.
I thought we had allocated like a week and a half for
You
this.
had. But I'm just noting
Okay.
that some flexibility disappears.
Yeah. The group prep is the sort of linguistic side of things.
Mhm.
And for that's just going to be clever plus linguistics.
Mhm.
So total of 5 there.
Tis.
That is roll of 7, so
12.
12
So that'll be 2.
for, I believe, 2.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then would basement dweller apply to my personal prep roll for the distribution of warnings within the basement?
I think it would.
Cool. So I think that's stealth and either cool or quick, your call.
I think it's going to be cool.
All right. So that is
Plus
total of 5 then.
Yeah.
And that is another, that's 7, so 12, 2 personal prep.
And I guess, Drew,
And then-
you were tracking the group prep, so that'll, if you head out of those 2 from Burn.
2 group prep, 2 personal prep so far.
Yep.
And then, well, I had said I was doing part of the backstopping of Ing's identity. Is that going to count for this, or is that just something we're doing?
I think that's not directly related to this in terms of prep. That's something that
Okay.
you're just kind of working on in the background. We will probably do a hacking and a ghosting roll for it when it culminates.
Cool. Similar question as to reaching out, as discussed.
Mm-hmm. Not a roll there. We'll get to it when we get to it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Then I strike what I was saying, and I'm only doing the 1.
Okay. Good deal.
Personal prep.
And Ing, your prep.
All right. So I think the easiest one for either person, I think personal prep would be modifying the drones to see if they can drop some kind of a net or provide some kind of a barrier. Let me know if I need to nail that down in advance, but doing something related to drones that's useful.
So I think that's just going to be a robotics plus clever or plus 6 for this personal prep roll.
6 and a 5 for 11 plus 6 is 17.
Woo!
All right, that's going to be 4 personal
Damn.
prep.
All right.
Okay.
How about your group prep?
Yeah, good question. What's left on the table? I had thought that I was going to look into the non-human communication thing, but if that's already been taken care of, that frees me up to do something else if there's still something on the table.
Well, you had non-human animals, which nobody else had. I don't know how distinct that ends up being, but, the other thing that you had mentioned was working with Gorister on the tracking device that you could maybe affix to Overthree.
That's right. Yep. So if there's any help needed on any of those things, then I'll do those things. Otherwise, I'm also aware that I have information to sell and resources could be useful, either to save up for a sticky shocker or to, out of character, bail Burn out of whatever trouble they're in.
Let's say that the sale of information is probably not directly related to prep unless you wanted to use it to acquire an asset, which would have been for personal prep and a group prep. So why don't we have you Why don't we have you do, it's an approximate one, but philosophy plus clever for a +5 in terms of aiding in the communication efforts.
Okay, sounds good. Oh, not quite so lucky. Double ones.
Okay,
But
so
double
that's
1 plus
2
5
plus
is
5.
7.
So you do get 1 group prep out of that.
For a total of 10, for the record.
Thank you.
That's very respectable. Okay. So this is going on kind of around and between the sort of Burn has disappeared stuff. This is contemporary and sort of interwoven. So, Burn,
Yes.
you send the messages you were going to send. And you get a place to set up shop for a week at the outside and some jobs to do. And, it's just make work. And
Yep.
you work on it. And you get compensated and are closer to being able to handle your finances than you were before. And frankly, your compensation is more than you would get working freelance on similar kinds of tasks. So,
Sure.
you're pretty okay with that. However, right around the, let's say, day before you were, kind of planning to start putting your relocating Overthree plan into action as a group, you will get a pretty urgent, a message marked urgent and that is urgently worded from Allie. I'm going to back up a little bit to what the folks who are looking for you during this period are seeing going on around G-Pole to provide some context. So, as the semester gets going in earnest and things settle into a routine, pretty predictably, student activity stuff starts to wind up. And one of the student organizations that has been around for a little while is the student organization around activism on behalf of the L4 refugees. Now, I think it's been a minute since we mentioned this on air. So for our listeners, there was another permanently inhabited space station planned for the L4 Lagrange point. The station was called Skuggavarf, and it was being constructed by an Icelandic company, of all things. They cut corners quite badly, though, resulting in a massive explosion that killed a lot of people, both in the initial explosion and in the exposure to vacuum afterward. Almost everybody else, that wasn't in the initial sort of vacuum zone managed to get, some kind of escape pod or, ship or load onto like a shipping liner or whatever. Some of those people went to Earth. Some of them went to Luna. Some of them came to Grand Cross. In fact, most of the survivors of the L4 disaster came to Grand Cross. They came at around about the same time that Unity was assuming the reins of power, and so they got very little in the way of any kind of acknowledgement or assistance. Some people were able to get situated with housing and jobs. Others were essentially crowded into refugee camps. Others still disappeared into the alleyways, basements, and various other anonymous parts of Grand Cross. And this has been an activism cause for quite some time now. Goes on unresolved and is especially acute in the downtown areas. It is approximately a quarterly phenomenon that G-Pol has some kind of activism or protest around the L4 refugee cause. Currently, during the time that you were preparing for this, you were taking around 10 days. On day 7, there is officially a benefit concert, and it certainly is that as well, but also like small riot in the vicinity of G-Pol connected to L4 activism. This is not something we've touched on a lot before because it was kind of slowed down as we were, between semesters and getting into the new semester. This is not unheard of around G-Pol or any of the other major educational institutions, or indeed just generally. But this particular one, a number of student music groups, as well as a music group made up entirely of L4 refugees called Slagpie, set up to play in outdoor areas around G-Pol's campus. And the one that makes a difference to your group is Cal is on duty when the Slagpie show goes on, and again, doesn't exactly become like a full-on emergency, but gets rowdy, and Tupper is very keyed up about it. And it doesn't turn into an emergency. It's not going to grab headlines, but there are some temporary detentions and some sort of emails that need to get sent on the back end. This is particularly relevant context because Burn, on day 7 out of 10, you get a message from Hahi. A message from Hahi's address that is written by Allie.
Okay.
It says, I'm trying to remember what I did with Allie's voice. I think we made someone angry. And then it has a copied message below it that reads, "You who dare to vandalize our memorial, prepare for reprisals." And is signed Slagpie. And then it just says after that, "Help?" ? Signed Allie. Again, comes from one of Hahi's addresses.
Like physical address or like email address?
Sorry. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I will respond inquiring what's needed.
You get IM'd almost instantly by Allie saying, "I don't know exactly what the problem is. Somebody's mad at us, and, well, I only do digital crimes. These people seem unnervingly physical."
Okay. What do I personally know about Slagpie, Adam?
Interestingly, the name itself is like, I think I've heard that before, but you really don't know anything in particular about it. However, taking a little bit to look into them sheds a little bit more light. Slagpie is a musical group. They don't call themselves this, but like their wiki calls them an Astro Doom band. And they are notable.
I love that label.
For a few things. One, they're comprised entirely of L4 refugees who met in the Grand Cross camps. And they are said, and have certainly not publicly denied, that they stole all the equipment that they use. perhaps the biggest things are that they are very involved in pro-refugee activism, events, and activities. And so Unity-affiliated media vilify them every time that L4 activism comes up. This is particularly easy for Unity media to do because a couple of their members are non-white, and all of their members do deliberately sort of gender fuck things during performances. So they are super scary. Their music is in a minor key, and it's slow and it's loud. And in a couple of pieces of concert footage, the male presenting members are wearing femme garb, and the femme presenting members are wearing masc garb. And I mean, they are uncompromisingly critical of the Grand Cross sort of administration that has left L4 refugees to, you know, essentially set up encampments rather than actually like trying to do anything. And so, yeah, they are a very easy and very visible group to vilify to more conservative elements of Grand Cross society, and thus a favored topic anytime that L4 activism is in the media, to sort of show how scary and bad these, you know, poor foreigners are. Which is particularly funny because at least three of their five members are just like tall, white, blonde or brunette Icelanders. But the boys wear dresses sometimes.
Heaven forfend.
Shock, horror.
Which I guess is a long way of saying that anybody who particularly pays attention to the programming on Unity Media will be at least passingly familiar with them, even if they've never heard their music or don't know anything else about them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What can I find possibly about the memorial mentioned?
Nothing.
I'll ask Allie. So, what do you know about this memorial? ?
Allie will reply, I really don't. They, I guess have something, but it's not like a monument or anything. Not that I would deface a monument if it existed. It's just confusing.
What's confusing?
Well, as far as I can tell, the only thing I've done recently is, well, what you asked.
Okay. Shit.
The temptation to say, and that's where we end our session, is very strong, but it's not quite time yet.
I viscerally felt that.
This is what is known as a motif.
A borrowed leitmotif, if you will.
Ooh.
Yay!
Hot.
I guess it's time to fortify some networks then.
All right.
So I think that I would, to the degree that Allie doesn't know any of my tricks with ghosting and such, demonstrate and also, like, just basically assist in trying to ghost the entire network set.
Okay. So let's get you to roll your ghosting plus clever, which I think is plus 7 at this point.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
And that is a better 11 than the first 11 I rolled this session. So that's an 18.
Okay. So you are able, collaborating with Allie, to essentially hide the sort of tracks leading back to Ali or Hahi from the last few things that Ali did, which admittedly were not exactly obvious, but obviously they were enough, right, for the message to be
Right.
sent in the first place.
Yep.
What's interesting is that after you complete this, it's probably 6 hours of cooperative work with Ali remotely, Ali sends you a screen grab of a Slagpie social media post that reads, "Today the vandals of our memorial to the lost of L4 hide from us. But they shall be found, and those who would erase us shall be punished." Followed by a little metal horns emoji.
Well, at least this buys time.
Allie will respond with a sort of the emoji that has the little wavering mouth. Now, in the meantime, on the non-burn side of things, you all have continued both with your prep and with your attempts to sort of reestablish contact with or locate Burn. But Cal, you will be assigned to another of these L4 activism actions. And Slagpie is not scheduled to be part of this one, but they do just like show up with like belt amps, and their percussionists are like wearing marching drums. One has a bass drum and the other one has a quintet. And the
Thrilling.
vocalist will yell into a megaphone, "This one's for Finna Gray, never forgotten." And then they will start playing an extraordinarily noisy song that does not appeal to you in the slightest.
I'd rather be anywhere else, including in a warehouse with Overthree.
And yet, this is where Tupper demands that you be.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful.
So,
Can I can I be
The price of being a
multitasking
cop.
while here on my phone?
quite possibly, what is it that you wish to be doing?
I now have a impetus for continuing my investigation into Burns' past.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead and roll an investigation plus clever for me.
Okay. So
I
that'd be
believe
2
that's
plus 3 plus 2d2. 2d6.
plus 4. 2d6 plus
Okay.
4.
So that'll be a 7 plus 4, 11.
Okay. So you have some new information to combine with some old information. This is still mostly teaching you about the Lucas, aka Luke Byrne alias that you're pretty sure is not like the original information. You're pretty sure though that you've isolated all the information that you can there. this is an identity that verifiably, in any meaningful sense of that word, goes back approximately 3 years. It originates in Ireland. The story that you are able to sort of piece together is that Lucas Byrne inherited a Grand Cross lottery spot from a parent, and then almost immediately ran up a ton of student debt, mostly within the last year, with a major at GPOL in Southeast Asian linguistics and post-colonial studies, which are not departments that GPOL puts a lot of money into.
Okay.
So by the time that Tuesday, the 4th of February, 2020 rolls around, the various preps have been prepped, and the efforts to track down Byrne have, sort of been in progress without any definitive, sort of answers made. Now, Byrne, by this point, yep.
I know it won't affect anything, but during my free time, I also start entering the basement from any entrance available within a certain radius, like a hoverboardable radius around a frontispiece, and asking for information about any sightings of a kid that doesn't seem to belong. Giving a very loose but also vague description of Byrne, kind of like those suspect drawings.
Yeah. I'm going to do a little roll here to see if you find anyone who's willing to talk to a cop or someone who seems cop-like.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Mostly you get sworn at. Nobody cops to having seen Byrne or
What
anyone
are
who looks
you, a
like
cop?
Byrne. That said, you don't actually find that many people. Now, Byrne, by the time the 4th rolls around, you have completed a number of, sort of odd and not so odd jobs, and you are going to be just about able to settle up.
Okay. Then, yeah, I would make sure that I am able to settle up before anything else.
It does take a small amount of fraud to get the full amount, but you feel like it's...
Oh, no.
You feel like it's concealable, at the very least. And so, rather than let it stay delinquent for any longer, you go ahead and settle up and get confirmation, including a little official number that, you are square.
Lovely.
Do you have, and this is for me as much as anything else, any intention, having done so, of allowing any of the communications from the others of the Frontispiece Four to reach you? Or perhaps even responding to them?
I will briefly, at a time when I am 90% certain that all of them would be asleep, activate that sim, slip the messages from one sim to the other, and then deactivate it again.
Okay.
And then read the messages.
Yeah, I mean, so you can see increasing levels of worry, particularly most, though not all, of the messages come from Kato, who is very careful not to get demanding or anything but obviously worried.
Okay.
I would have sent
Mhm.
a very intentional barb of a lottery kid, huh? Impressive debt, period.
Sure to be productive.
I would like to make a hacking and ghosting roll.
Okay. Yep. That's going to be 2 rolls. Go ahead.
Yep. The hacking is merely a 14.
Okay.
The the ghosting is a 17.
All right. What is your object here?
An email slipped onto the officer's work computer that will be discovered in like 2 weeks. To wit, birth is a lottery. That's for sure. And some debts are easier to handle than others.
Bravissimo. Yeah, you are able to create in time such a thing to arrive. No question.
With no connection to any known like servers.
Sure. Now, I think I know the answer to this, but by the start of business on February the 4th, have you communicated to any of the other player characters that you are alive or what might have become of you?
For my prep to probably count as group prep and thereby be useful, I probably would need to have like slipped that into the group stores of information, I suppose. So I think that is probably like the closest we get, namely me slipping that in to whatever relevant folder of documents we're doing for this.
Sure. And I'm going to say that that is not immediately obvious such that I can make it happen.
Correct.
Essentially at the beginning of next session. But the, I guess, thing of interest here for such of the group as is not in hiding is that on the morning of February the 4th, Kato, you will go to like open the frontispiece to discover that there is one of those IMX drones, like the one that caught Vact with that kit bash, just stationary and silent outside of the front door of the frontispiece, facing the door, and not leaving. Which is where we'll pick up next time, since we are currently at about our time for doing a session this evening. So, there won't be any XP this time, but I'm optimistic about next time.
You know what I feel about next time? Optimism.
Yes.
Yeah, optimism. Ominous.
So that will conclude this session of Dice Punks. Thank you for joining us. I hope our players and listeners enjoyed it as much as I did, and that you'll join us again next time. If you're hearing us now, then you probably know where to listen to this, but we can be found almost any place one can listen to podcasts, as well as on the wider web at dicepunks.com and on Tumblr and Blue Sky as @dicepunks. With that, I think we're ready to say farewell, so say goodbye to the kind folks back on Earth, players.
Thanks for listening, and tune in next time to possibly hear us all want to murder each other more than ever.
Thanks for listening, everyone. If you really want to hear back from someone, intentionally aggravating them is not a healthy means of communication.
Really good advice in general is just don't do what Cal does. Just don't do what really most of these people do, honestly. Like,
Do as I say, not as I do.
Thanks for listening, folks, and be prepared to pay your debts eventually.
Yeah, thank you for joining us, folks. If you'd like to follow the Dice Punks, you're certainly going to need to level up stealth. Have I used that one before?
We're very observant.
I don't believe so.
No,
and, very true. And as the poet once said, you ain't ever sent another fucking message, girl. You don't answer any single time he's texting, girl. You're a ghost in the mainframe. Ghost in the mainframe. Ghost in the mainframe. Beloved listeners, thank you for tuning in. Stick around through the admin stuff for an invocation with Ing. The music in this episode, Augment or Die, is by Emerson Boatwright and our very own bookmonger, Drew. Check out their other work at the link in the show notes. Editing and our rad new cover art was done by Joanne, who has appeared on the podcast now and again. Check out her work around the internet where she goes by Anything Sews. Site design and graphics for dicepunks.com are by the one and only Officer Armitage, Robin. Hardwired Island is by Paul Macevic, Freya Erlingsdottir, and Minervik Janda. You can find Hardwired Island at etten.itch.io/hardwiredisland. Links to the system and authors can be found in the Punk Grimoire section of our website, dicepunks.com. Thanks so much for listening. If you liked what you heard, that's reward enough on its own, but if you're so inclined, you can help us out by rating and reviewing us wherever you listen to us, telling your friends who you think would like us to give us a listen, and even heading over to our Patreon at patreon.com/dicepunks.com. We have fun rewards available to backers, including a patron-only Discord and access to the Dice Peaks after show for episodes 1.1 and following. Regardless, we hope you'll tune in again, and until then, remember, subtlety is for cowards.
Ode to Nudes. Nudes and broth and sesame, carrot strips and soft green peas, miso paste and some kimchi at 74 degrees. Salt and sweet and good mouthfeel, my piston-driven ramen meal. Friendships keep us even-keeled, a phenomenally great deal. Orange flag for ethanol, and yellow-flagged cholesterol. The sodium will appall, send nudes will always enthrall.